Hello guys, welcome back. My name's Nathan and today I'm going to be reacting to your hot takes from the NHL and basically just giving all my thoughts. Now, about a week ago, I made a community post basically just asking you guys to send in your hot takes, and my goodness, was there some spicy ones. But what were the spiciest hot takes that you guys sent in, and what do I agree and disagree with throughout the hot takes in today's video? Watch till the end for all of the viewer hot takes and all the craziness. And of course, hit that big red subscribe button if you are new for more hockey content just like this one. Now, I might make this a recurring series, so once again, if you enjoy this stuff, subscribe so you see those community posts, but also hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video, if you want to see more installments just like this one. But we're going to get straight into the hot takes, and the first one I want to talk about is this one. This coming from Sander: Alexis Lafreniere will have a better career than Connor McDavid, and the fire emoji. Now, Sander, which is a channel member, absolute beauty. This one is definitely one of the spiciest ones. I wanted to start out with some spice to start out this series. And for me, I mean, I really do enjoy the spice here, but I just can't agree with that. To me, Connor McDavid could end up as maybe, if we're looking at like era-adjusted numbers offensively, maybe the best offensive player of all time. We'll see, but we'll see what happens. To me, this is just kind of, I mean, I like Alexis Lafreniere. Obviously, as a guy that likes the Rangers a lot, they're my third favorite team. I really want Alexis Lafreniere to be better than Connor McDavid, but at the end of the day, I really don't see that happening. To me, I think Lafreniere is going to be a lot better of a well-rounded player. I would say better defensively a lot too. He's a player that just brings everything. Not so much the offensive output that I think Connor McDavid is going to put up, but I think Lafreniere will probably have a couple of 100-point seasons. Depends on who he plays with, but if it's Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, and then Lafreniere, I think that'll be awesome. But I just can't agree with this. To me, I think Lafreniere will be great, but not Connor McDavid great, at least not close on the offensive end. But then we can go on to the next hot take, not my hot take, but somebody else's. This is coming from Rugged English. He says, or he, she, I don't know, they say that Leafs finish behind Sens and Habs in the standings. Now, this one also is pretty spicy, and I think it depends on what we see with the divisions, because it could be the Atlantic, it could be the Canadian division, so we'll see what happens there, but this is definitely a lot of spice. I mean, there was a couple of hot takes for people that were saying the Sens could make the playoffs, which I almost included in today's video, but this was a little more pinpointed. I think the Leafs are going to be probably top three at least. I think the top three in the Atlantic is likely the Habs, Leafs, and Lightning, if I had to go off that. It depends on the Boston Bruins' health, because with the health of Brad Marchand and Pastrnak kind of in question, we'll see. But I think that's probably going to be the top three if we see a Canadian division, or not a Canadian division, if we see the Atlantic division. And to me, with the Sens, I mean, I think they could be in the bubble, but especially if it's a Canadian division, I really see them having no chance whatsoever to get higher than the Leafs. But in the Atlantic, I mean, I'm not sure. I think the Sens could do decently, but over the Leafs, unless they have some horrific injury trouble, I just don't see it. I see that defense as pretty substantially improved, and I think that'll definitely help them, at least in the regular season, and hopefully heading into the playoffs. Then going on to my next hot take here from the viewers, we have EJB saying the Red Wings will make the playoffs behind Larkin being a point-per-game player. Now again, this depends on the divisions we see, because especially if it's all Canadian division, that would eliminate some pretty solid teams in the mix for Detroit to go after. So, I don't know. I feel like Detroit could be in the mix as well. I had one of my hot takes for next season being that they wouldn't be bottom three in the standings or something like that, which I think is pretty good compliment for a team like that. I mean, honestly, if they're not last place, I think that's a pretty good success. I still think they'll want to be as bad as possible, but they made some pretty great free agent acquisitions. To me, I could see the Red Wings making the playoffs, but I think it would have to take a couple miracles. Like they say, Larkin being a point-per-game player, I could see it. I think he will have a pretty good rebound year, but I think he might need even more help than he has right now, even with the free agent acquisitions of guys like Nemestikov, which will help. I'm not sure if he'll be up to that level, though. If he does, I'd be pretty happy to see that. Let's go Team USA. To me, I disagree with this in both respects with the Larkin and the Red Wings prediction, but I do like the boldness, and if it does go well, honestly, I wouldn't be too mad. To see a team like the Red Wings making the playoffs would be pretty awesome to watch. And then we can go from the next one. We have Henry with the Sabres logo saying that Yaroslav Askarov is the best player from this year's draft and we'll go into the Hall of Fame. And this one also is pretty spicy. We have Sanders saying that Alexis Lafreniere will be better than Connor McDavid, but we have Henry here saying that Askarov will be better than Alexis Lafreniere. So we got some mismatching here. To me, honestly, I could see it. I could see it. To me, it depends really on how Nashville looks going in the future. But if I had to bet on anybody being better than Alexis Lafreniere in this draft, it's either Quinton Byfield or Askarov. I don't think anybody else has the potential to be better. To me, with Askarov, pretty much everything has to go right. But so far in the KHL, he has been absolutely magnificent. And honestly, he's not too surprising either. He's a fantastic goaltender, the best goaltending prospect in the NHL right now. And that's a guy that will be awesome for the Preds. But again, it depends on what type of team you're suiting up there for. I think Askarov is going to be one of the best goalies in the NHL, but to be better than Alexis Lafreniere, it's definitely not likely. But in an alternate universe where crazy stuff happens and goaltending prospects are fantastic always, I could see it. I don't think it'll happen, but it's not the craziest thing in the world. Then we go on to the next the next bold take, hot take. This is coming from Brian Boyle, my absolute man, channel member. Become a member if you haven't already. But he says all 3 California teams will make the playoffs. Now that includes the San Jose Sharks, the Anaheim Ducks, and the LA Kings. All 3 of which did not make the playoffs last year, and all 3 of which were bottom 3 in the Pacific last year. So this is definitely one of the hottest takes in today's video. But, I don't think it's the craziest thing. But at the same time, honestly, I think the most likely thing is all 3 of them still miss the playoffs or are bottom 3 in the Atlantic. To me, a team especially like LA, I think will likely be the worst team in the league next year. San Jose, I think, has the best chance to get back to the playoffs. But even then, that goaltending tandem is probably the worst in the NHL. And you have the Anaheim Ducks, which I think could surprise some people if they have their youth resurgence this year, but I still think it's a little bit of a stretch. So I think the most that happens is 2 out of 3 of those teams get in the playoffs, but if I had to be a betting man, I would only say San Jose. Now, the next one I have comes from Chase, and he says that UC Saros will win the Vezina Trophy. Now, I personally really love this because UC Saros, one of my favorite goaltenders in the NHL. I think he's the smallest as well, at least in terms of height. And that's a player I've always wanted to root for as a Finnish fan as well. I don't know if he'll win the Vezina Trophy, but I think he will have a pretty solid year next year with Nashville. I'm hoping so at least. I think Pekka Rinne is kind of going by the wayside right now. And I think hopefully Saros will fully take control of that net as he kind of did versus Arizona. Then going on to our next one, I have our next one coming from Noah. He says Cole Perfetti makes the team out of camp and plays with Laine and Ehlers and wins the Calder Trophy. Now, I like this prediction too because with Winnipeg, it'll be interesting to see now the season starting likely in January, how many more draft eligibles play right in the NHL. Beforehand, where they would have started in October, it probably wouldn't have been as likely. But a guy like Cole Perfetti, I could see it happening. Though he's probably going to be on the World Juniors team, and he's probably going to stay there as well. We'll see what happens. But if he does go and play with Laine and Ehlers, I mean, those are 2 incredible wingers to be on for a guy like a Perfetti, where you don't have to be the superstar speed guy. You have Ehlers on the wing, but you don't have to be the sniper because you got Laine. So I think he can kind of craft his playmaking, high IQ game right with those 2 guys, and I think it could fit out well. I'm not sure if he plays this next year because of that, and I'm not sure if he wins the Calder, but if he does go with those 2 guys, and he is there for most of the year, I could see him doing pretty well and being one of the top rookies. So I don't think that's the worst hot take in the world. Then going on to my next one, I have this one coming from Benjamin, and he says Miro Heiskanen will win the Norris, and Carter Hart will win the Vezina Trophy. I was about to say the World Series. That would have been interesting. Win the Vezina Trophy, and I must say, Benjamin, this hot take does please the grab. I really do appreciate this one, especially that Norris prediction. Wink, wink. And personally, I mean, I could see it. I'm not sure if he actually will win the Norris Trophy because I think for Dallas, he's more suited up for the defensive side of things, and I'm not sure he'll get as many points. A lot of that is because of John Klingberg on that power play mostly. I think Heiskanen will have a pretty great year offensively still, but to be able to get that Norris Trophy, I'm not sure if voters are going to do that yet. They absolutely should have him in the conversation, but right now I'm not too sure. Carter Hart is an interesting one because I think he could also have a pretty great year because in the playoffs he was terrific for Philly. was the only reason they went as far as they did, and I could see him doing very well this next year. It just depends on how the defense aligns, because you lose Matt Niskanen, which I think is a pretty big blow. You bring in Eric Gustafsson, which, all right. So I'm not really sure what to think of Philly's defense, but I think Carter Hart could still be up there at the end of the day. Then going on to the next bold take, this one coming from Haka, heck yeah, and he says that Draisaitl will score 149 points, at least to be on pace for 149 next season. He goes into all the details. To me, I really would be fascinated to see this, because he already was so good last year, and to be like 25 points better or whatever it was would be pretty stupendous. The last time we saw 149 points in a season was Yager in 1996, so that was the last time anybody got close to those kind of numbers, and I think he would be tied for like 15th all time in terms of the most amount of points in a season, which would be awesome. I love Leon Draisaitl as a person who has a lot of German heritage as well. Seeing all these German hockey players do fantastic is amazing, and Draisaitl obviously is the main catalyst of that. I'm really not sure if he gets 149 points, but if we do see an 82-game season, I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world. But I do see Connor McDavid probably getting more points next year, kind of going a little more of a revenge tour, being the main guy for Edmonton, hopefully being completely healthy. I would love to be wrong, but Draisaitl getting 149 points at the end of the day would be pretty freaking amazing. But then we go into the last bold prediction that I want to talk about, the last hot take. This one coming from Absurd Hockey, and this one is pretty absurd in my opinion, but we'll get into it. He says Patrick Kane and Alex Ovechkin are not top 20 wingers anymore. And this one, oh my gosh, is just, if we're going on the spicy meter, it's definitely an 11 out of 10 right now. Definitely overflowing, but to me, this one, there's a lot of layers. There's a lot of layers, just like onions. A lot of layers in this one. And I want to say this right now, I don't agree, but I can see where they're coming from. Okay, so here's the thing. In terms of my philosophy, I do like when a winger has stupendous defense. Mark Stone is one of my favorite players in the NHL because of that. But it's not needed. And in the case of Patrick Kane and Alex Ovechkin, they are one of the best offensive players in the NHL. But both of them defensively also just have terrible metrics and have just been bad players throughout their career defensively. But when you're putting up as much offensive results as they do, I think it kind of negates that. Especially in the case of Alex Ovechkin, where he just always finds a way to score goals. And I am a big believer in advanced stats, but at the end of the day, yeah, you want to be the guy that scores the goals. You want to be the guy that puts up the points and puts up the scores at the end of the day. And to me, it's an interesting one. I don't think Ovechkin and Patrick Kane are like top 3. Maybe, I don't know if with their defense considered, if a guy like Alex Ovechkin or even a Patrick Kane would be top 5 for me, but they're still top 10. They're still up there, and you gotta still factor in their offense, because they aren't centers, they aren't defensemen. To me, wingers are the least important, position for defense, unless you're a goaltender. Defense can just frig off your goaltender, because they don't care. But in terms of wingers, I just don't value it as much. I still value it a lot, because I think having a strong defensive game as a forward is super important to the whole team. But it's, again, not needed to win games. It's not needed to be successful. In the case of Patrick Kane and Alex Ovechkin, both of them are amazing offensive players, to where I can kind of forget that a little bit. It is a strong debate, and I think there is a debate to be had there. But to me, I just... not top 20, I can't really justify that. I still have them both as one of the better wingers in the NHL, even though I wouldn't have them like number 1 or number 2 anymore. They're still up there and still fantastic, but not top 20. That's a little bit much for me. Just my opinion, though. Oh, and also, I lied. We have one more hot take. This one coming from a YouTube channel who subscribed to Grav, Absolute GOAT. Hot take, Grav is going to hit 100K by 2022. And you know what? It is correct. So you know what you gotta do. Every friend you have, subscribe to the Grav Gang. Anybody that hasn't subscribed, I will find you and I will make you subscribe. So hit that subscribe button. We're hitting 100K before 2022, boys. We got basically 14 months to make that happen. I know we can do it, boys. I know we can do it. Smash that subscribe button. Smash that like button. Do whatever you need to do. But thanks so much for the support, all of you, during the off season. Hopefully we can do more of these, depending on how this video does. So if you did enjoy, again, hit that like button. Hopefully you watch the whole way through. That always helps as well. But yeah, that's basically it. Hopefully you did enjoy. Of course, smash that subscribe button, smash that like button. Let me know down in the comments, what did you agree and disagree with throughout this video with these hot takes, and again, what is your hot take for the NHL as well? Make sure you share this video with your friends, get the Growl Gang out there, make sure to subscribe, watch this video, and click on this card for all my predictions and picks videos right on the playlist. My name's Nathan, thanks so much for watching all throughout the video, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Goodbye.